In this lesson, we are going to read a news article who is taken by Dan News, so you can improve all areas of English. So welcome back to Smile English Lord. Of course, I am Zeeshan. So get let's started. The first I will read headlines: Rethinking Afghan policy. Rethinking Afghan policy is that author argues that racist Afghans policy in the to change in the regional dynamics. The author argues uh, that uh, stakeholders and economic corporations to lead peace and stability in the regions. That the all issues, that terrorism issues, that that solving the problem Afghanistan and Pakistani government. So we read this article. There is an immediate need for Pakistan to overhaul its Afghanistan policy since the present one has failed to yield positive results. The Taliban regime in Kabul has not responded to pressures from Pakistan to neutralize the terrorist groups that are operating from Afghan soil, nor has it appeared willing to improve regional geo-economic operations. Even pressures in the form of the impositions of duties on transit trade by Pakistan that has significantly reduced trade has failed to do the trick. The Taliban have remained indifferent and have also resisted calls from their traders to engage in talk with Pakistan. That important meaning is that to overhaul its Afghan policy since the present ones has failed to yield to naturalize soil, nor has appeared regional geo-economic corporations remained indifferent, resisted call from to engage, to overhaul, to renovate, to refurbish, to revamp, to reform, to recognize. That important synonym is that to renovate, to refurbish, to revamp, to reform, to reorganize. Since the present ones indicate a point of comparison or contrast, show a cause and effect relationship, highlights change or development over time. To yield, definition is that to give in or surrender to a force, argument, or demand. Important synonym is that surrender, give in, produce, provide, relent. To naturalize. To naturalize is that contract, offset, eliminate, remove, counterbalance. A phrase that indicates a lack of absence of something, often used to contradict to add to a previous settlement statement. Nor has grammar tips is nor is often used to with neither or not to create a negative statement. Has it is the present tense to have indicating an action that started in the past and continues to the present. Appeared is that important definition to become visible or noticeable, to seem or give the impression of being something, to be published, announced, or made unknown. Important synonym is that emerged, surfaced, became visible, came into views, manifested. Regional geo-economic corporations. Regional focus economic and cooperation among neighboring countries are regionals. Geo-economic factors, proximity, shared borders, natural resources, and transportation's infrastructure. Economic integrations, trade agreements, in investment, infrastructure development, and institutional corporations. Im- Impositions of important, the act of forcing or compelling someone to accept or comply with something. Important synonym is that enforcement, implementations, mandate, requirement, and obligations. Remained indifferent. Important definition is that to remain indifferent, showing not interest or concern about something. Important synonym is that apathetic, unconcerned, uninterested, detached, dispassionate. Resisted is there to oppose or fight against something such as force, ideas, or change. That important synonym is that opposed, fought, refused, withstood, defied. Call from important synonym is that invitations, request, summons, notifications, appeal. To engage. To engage important synonym is that participate, involve, interact, communicate, and commit. In an effect, to secure cooperation, Pakistan has resorted to various economically and diplomatically coercive measures to counter threat posed by the banned Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan. However, the Afghan Taliban have mandate their hardline stance despite the decline in their country trade members by 54 million in the first half of the current year, thanks to measures adopted by Pakistan such as border closures, increased regional taxes, and higher tariffs. These measures have disputed the transit of Afghan products to markets like India. The Taliban approach is consistent with their old positions, and they offering nothing more than facilitating a dialogue between Pakistan and TTP, a strategy that carries significant risk for Pakistan internal security and national cohesion. That important is that is in an effect secure resorted to counter posed by mandate hardline stance decline adopted by tariffs disrupted transit of approach consistent with offering nothing more facilitating carries a risk for cohesion. That important meaning is that is in an effect to secure to take steps or measures to ensure safety, security, or stability. Resorted is the definition to turn to something as a means to achieving a goal or solving a problem. Important synonym is the turn to relied on, used, employed, had resources, recourses to. Cursive is that important definition is that using force, threats, or intimidations to control to influence someone. Important synonym is that forceful, compulsory, mandatory, authoritarian, op- oppressive. To counter, is that to act or take measures against something such as argument, a threat or problem. Important synonym is there to oppose, to resist, to combat, to offset, to naturalize. Posed by to present or introduce a challenges, question or problem. Important synonym is that presented by, introduced by, raised by, created by, constituted by, maintained is there to keep something in a state of being conditions or operations, kept, preserved, restrained, retrained, supported or upheld. That hard line stance is the definition a strict and unyielding adherence to a particular policy, principles or ideology. Important synonym is that unyielding, inflexible, uncompromising, strict and tough. Decline. Decline is that to increase or diminish in amount, degree or intensity. To deteriorate and worsen in quality, condition or health. An important synonym is that decrease, diminish, deteriorate, worsen and refuse. Adopted by is that to accept or improve something such as an idea, policy or practice. Important synonym is that accepted by, approved by, implemented by, embraced by, endorsed by. Tariffs. A tax or duty to imposed on imported or exported goods and services. Important synonym is that duties, taxes, trade barriers, import duties and export duties. Disrupted is that to interrupt or disturb the normal functionings of operations of something. Important synonym is that interrupted, disturbed, disordered, thrown into chaos and upset, transit of. The important meaning is that act of passing or moving from one place to another. Important synonym is that passages, movement, transfer, transportations and migrations. Approach is that a way of dealings with the problem, situations or person. Important synonym is that method, technique, strategy, way or means. Consistent with, in harmony or agreement with something. That important synonym is that in line with, in accordance with, in harmony with, compatible with, conforming to. Offering nothing more, providing additional values, benefits or substance. Important synonym is that providing to add values, offering to improvement, failing to impress, lacking distractions, being unremarkable, facilitating, making a something easier, simple or move or convenient. Important synonym is that enabling, supporting, assisting. Simplifying streamlinings, carries is that important definition to hold sport something often physically holds sports conveys transmit bears risk for is that potential danger or hazard that could affect something to someone important synonym is that danger for hazard for threat to vulnerabilities for perils for cohesion is that important definition is that the state of being united or sticking together important synonym is that unity togetherness harmony consistency bonding pakistan diplomatic efforts have also fallen short highlighting a growing disconnect between its expectation that and the taliban rigid and economic issues. This has undermined Pakistan's credibility, especially with regard to its ability to exercise influence over the Taliban to advocate for issues such as Afghan women right to access education, employment, and continues to plummet to alarming levels. Diplomatic efforts attempt to resolve conflicts or disputes through negotiations, mediations, or other peaceful means. Actions taken to improve relations, build trust, and strengthen cooperations between countries, organizations, and individuals. Important synonym is that peaceful negotiations, conflict resolutions, international cooperation, and statecraft. Tactful communications. Fallen past tense of fall implying a downward movement or drop, decrease or decline in values, amount or intensity. Important synonym is that dropped, decreased, declined, slumped, and plummeted, highlighting a growing disconnect. Definition as emphasizing or driving attention a widening gap or difference. Important synonym is that exposing a gap or revealing a divide, illustrating separations, showcasing disparity, emphasizing or difference. Its expectations, anticipated or outcomes of results. Important synonym is that anticipated outcomes, desired result, predicted standards, goals, and objective. Origed, physically stiff or unyielding, resistant to being or feelings, unwilling to change or to adapt, often due to being overly strict or inflexible. Important synonym is that stiff, unyielding, unflexible, unbending, unflexible. Undermined is that weakened or eroded the foundations of basis of something. Important synonym is that weakened, eroded, subverted, sabotage, compromised. Credibility is that the quality of being trustworthy or reliable. Important synonym is that trustworthiness, reliability, believability, reputations, integrity. With regard to is that concerning or relating to a particular topic of issues. Important synonym is that recording, concerning, and relating to. Pertaining to in reference to. Influence over. The power or ability to shape or away someone thoughts, behavior or decisions. Important synonym is that power over, control over, sway over, impact on, authority over. Advocate for, to publicly support or promote a particular cause or issues. Champion, support, promote, defend, lobby for. Accesses is that the means or opportunity to approach or enter a place. Important synonym is that entrance, entry, approach, permissions, authorizations. Plummet to drop or fall suddenly and sharply, often to a much lower level. That important synonym is that drop, fall, decline, decrease, nose divide. Alarming levels is that definition extremely high or severe levels of something often causing concern or fears. Important synonym is that dangerously high levels, unacceptably high level, frighteningly high levels, extremely high levels, critically high levels. Moreover, Pakistan has still not identified to use diplomatic tools and skilled diplomats who could plug the growing gap between the two countries. It simply continues to reshuffle that same people who have yet to achieve the diplomatic outcomes desired by the city. This has only made the crisis worse. Afghanistan, the project is accepted to be completed in 2 years. Identified useful diplomatic implies negotiation, peaceful resolutions to conflict, facilitating international cooperation to global issues, promoting culture exchange and understanding, resolving trade disputes through diplomatic means, providing humanitarian aid and support. Advice that contact into socket to provide power or access to a network. Plug. Promoting something, plug is a product that means to advertise or endorse it. Stopping a flow, plug a leak means a block or seal it. Connecting ideas, plug into an ideas means to connect with, build upon it. Continues to, ongoing, still happening, in a progress, persistent, remaining staying the same over times. Uninterrupted proceedings without pause or break. Important synonym is that remains, stray, persistent, goes, to proceeds. Reshuffles is reorganize, rearrange or restructure something. Rearrange, change the order to position or things. Redistribute, resigns or relocate resources, role or responsibilities. Outcomes is that result, consequences, effect, conclusions, findings, desired by, wanted, felt to be needed, wished for, requested, asked for, sought after. That preferred is chosen to selected over options. Important synonym is that here are some synonym desired by, wanted by, requested by, preferred by, sought by, needed by, asked for by, longed for by, yearned for by. Pause tends to make, created, brought into existence or produced, constructed, built, assembled for parts, manufactured, produced, or fabricated using materials or machineries, completed or accomplished. Worse is that comparative form of bad or evils. That here are some synonym worse: more severe, more serious, more intense, more unpleasant, more inferior, more detrimental, more harmful, more disastrous. To be completed, not a finish, still a progress or requiring more work. Pending, waiting to be done or finalized. Outstanding, remaining to be completed or resolved. To be finished, pending completions. In progress, underway, ongoing, unfinished, incomplete, partially due. The Taliban are also trying to restructure, restructure their relationship with India and multiple processes, but mainly to balance their relations with Pakistan. However, their source of strength and confidence are Russia and China, both of which to counter want to counter American influence in the region and gain their cooperations from counterterrorism purposes. Re- Restructure is that to give a new shape or form some things. Synonym is that restructure is that recognize, reforms, reconfigures, revamp, remodels, redesigns, overhaul. Multiple process is that serving more than one function's goal, having several uses implications that multiple process, multifunctionals, versatiles, multi-purposes, manifold uses, several uses, diverse functions. Mainly two is that means important synonym is that primarily or chiefly for the purpose. Important synonym is that primarily to, chiefly to, mostly to, largely to, principally to, predominantly to. To counter is that to respond or react from something in positions. Important synonym is that to counter, to oppose, to offset, to naturalize, to contradict, to refute, to challenges, to resist. Influence is that important synonym is that impact, effect, power, authority, sway, shape of mold. That gain is that synonym gain, acquire, obtain, get, achieve, attain, increase, improve, advance. Purposes is that important synonym is that goals, objective, intentions, aims, functions, use and design. Pakistan has several options to address the challenges it faces, including developing regional city cooperation beyond the limited scope of Shanghai Cooperation Organization framework. Strategically, Pakistan has reduced Afghanistan leverage transnational energy and economic infrastructure projected by ensuring it is not the end user destination for its initiative. However, Pakistan option or constrained, Iran remains under sanctions, com- complicating and executions of gas pipelines projects. China has multiple channels with Central Asia and can utilize shorter routes via Wakhan corridor if necessary. That India aware of the political and strategic challenges of these projects remains a complex pattern. Still, Pakistan can look into CBM with its eastern neighbor to address mutual concerns. That's several options. Important synonym is that various alternative different possibilities range option array of choice. To address is that to tackle, to confront, to deal with, to handle, to resolve. Limited scope of narrow focus, restricted range, limited extent, confined boundaries, circumscribed scope. Strategically is that internationally, deliberately, calculatedly, tactically, thoughtfully, thoughtfully. That will reduce is that important synonym is that decrease, diminish, lessen, minimize, or shrink. Leverage is that utilize, harness, capitalize, exploit, mobilize. Transnational energy and economic infrastructure is that global infrastructure, international infrastructure, cross border infrastructure, transboundary infrastructure, multinational infrastructure, connotations. Transnational energy and economic infrastructure implies a sense of global interconnectedness, cooperations, and interdependence. It can also suggest a sense of complexity, scale, and strategic importance. Projected by important synonym initiatives, by ventures, by undertaking, by activities, by endeavors, by ensuring is that granting, securing, safeguarding, protecting, certifying. End user. End user is that customer, client, user, consumer, and beneficiary. Initiative can be launched. Project, program, campaigns, ventures, undertaking. Constraint. Constraint is that important, restricted, limited, bound, confined, hampered. Remains is that stays, continuous, persistent, endures, lasts. Sections can take various form of including penalties, restrictions, embargoes, prohibitions, consequences, executions of. Important synonym is that implementations, putting a plan or strategy into actions. Enforcement, carrying out a policy, laws, or decisions. Completion, finishing or fulfilling task, project, or objection. Realizations, bringing or concept, idea, or vision of life. Utilize shorter. Use concise, employ brief, leverage short, opt for conceive, choose brief. Connotations, look into, investigate, examine, research, probe, inquire. Building measures, a term that refer CBM imply a sense of cooperation, mutual understanding, and peaceful resolution of conflicts. They can also suggest a sense of progress, stability, and improved relationship between national organizations and individuals. A feeling of worry, anxiety, or apprehensions about some things. Concerns is that worry, anxiety, apprehensions, fear, or uneasy. Negotiation with the TTP is not viable solution and risk escalating and conflict that are ongoing in the Taliban. Internally, Pakistan must address the pressing issues in KP and Balochistan using an inclusive approach and focusing on equitable development, fair resources distributions as per constitutional rights, and the restorations of these provinces dignity and political participations. Afghanistan can be a partner in this exercise. Trade routes can be operationalized, increasing cross-border trade flows, and establishing education and medical centers near the border to aid Afghan nationals. Such as step could help boost trust with Afghanistan and Pakistan and provide the latter and leverage with which to persuade the Taliban to end their support to TTP and other terrorist groups. Viable solutions is there practical solutions, visible answer, effective remedy, sustainable fix, workable solution. Escalating is that intensifying, worsenings, heightenings, aggravating, exacerbating. Ongoing important synonym is that continuous, persistent, prolonged, enduring, long standing. Internally. Internally is that inside, within, inwardly, privately, confidently. Pressing issues is that urgent matters, critical concerns, important problems, key challenges, high priority issues. Inclusive approach is that in topically comprehensive approach, integrated approach, diverse approach, equitable approach, accessible approach. Focusing on equitables. Focus, Focusing on fairness, emphasizing justice, prioritizing equality, addressing and disparities, promoting inclusively. Restorations is that important synonym renovations, repair, rejuvenations, revitalizations, preventions. Operationalized is that implemented, executed, activated, put into practice, realized. Flows is that current, streams, flux, movement, circulations. That boost is that increase, enhance, energize, revitalize, amplify. To persuade is that convince, influence, persuade, cause, and sway. Effective diplomacy with Afghanistan is crucial, but it requires a new approach, and merely reshuffling faces will not work. Strong diplomacy needs strong policy objective. Pakistan must critically review its Afghanistan policy since the Taliban rise to power, identifying what has worked and what has not while prioritizing the country borders, geopolitical and economic interest. Effective diplomacy refers to successful use of diplomatic efforts, strategies, and tactics to achieve desired outcome, build strong relationship, and resolve conflict between nations and organizations and individuals. Crucial is that important synonym is that essential, vital, important, critical, decisive, pivotal, key, fundamental. Requires needs, demands, necessitates, calls for, entails, involves, mandates, expert, very reshuffling faces. Idiomatic expression that superficial changes only changes the appearance or personal but addressing the underlying issues or problem. Lack of real reforms, failing to implement meaningful or substantial changes instead of rearranging or displaying individuals. Critically reviews. Analyze critically, evaluate thoroughly, examine carefully, assess objectively. Review comprehensively. Identifying is that ascend to power, gain prominence, achieve dominance, acquire influence, assume controls. Prioritizing is that prioritizing US spelling, altering, ranking, sorting, sequencing, scheduling, allocating. So please subscribe this channel and hope this video is very important for you to improve all areas of English. So thank you very much.